I'm not ready actually yet. Sorry.
No problem. No problem. Kendra Prabhu, would you like to? I led yesterday. I mean, I don't mind leading. I'm not trying to pass it off on anyone, but if you're available.
Oh,
or you're
thank you.
saving your voice.
I shouldn't lead right now. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm grabbing a mridanga. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayādvaita Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Nami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesham Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad-Bhagavatam Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Jai. नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासारि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी महारानी की जय, समवेद गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the Samud devotees, all glories to the Samud devotees, all glories to the Samud devotees. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Welcome everyone to our weekly Caitanya-caritamrta class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. We are embarking on a new chapter, beginning Adi Lila, chapter 9. Today is July 11th, 1 p.m. in Honolulu, Hawaii, 2024. And thank you all so much for being here with us. Please feel free to raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask any questions or give any input. And otherwise, the chat box is there. And without further ado, let us read. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A summary of chapter 9 has been given as follows by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. In the 9th chapter, the author of Caitanya-caritamrta has devised a figurative example by describing the planet of bhakti. He considers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Vishvambhara, to be the gardener of this plant. The plant of bhakti. I think I said the planet, forgive me. The plant of bhakti. He considers Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the gardener of this plant because he is the main personality who has taken charge of it. As the supreme enjoyer, he enjoyed the flowers himself and distributed them as well. The seed of the plant was first sown in Navadvipa, the birth site of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then the plant was brought to Purushottama Kshetra, Jagannath Puri, and then to Vrindavana. The seed fructified first in Srila Madhavendra Puri, and then his disciple Sri Ishvara Puri. It is figuratively described that both the tree itself and the trunk of the tree are Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The devotees, headed by Paramananda Puri and 8 other great sannyasis, are like the spreading roots of the tree. From the main trunk, there extend 2 special branches, Advaita Prabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And from those 2 branches grow other branches and twigs. The tree surrounds the entire world, and the flowers of the tree are to be distributed to everyone. In this way, the tree of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu intoxicates the entire world. It should be noted that this is a figurative example meant to explain the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Do you have anything at this point, Guru Maharaj, before we embark on the verses?
No, I don't think I do.
All right. Text 1. Tang Srimad Krishna Chaitanya Devam Vande Jagat Gurum Yasyanukampaya Svapi Mahabdhim Santaret Sukham. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual master of the entire world, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even a dog can swim across a great ocean. Purport. Sometimes it is to be seen that a dog can swim in the water for a few yards and then come back to the shore. Here, however, it is stated that if a dog is blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he can swim across an ocean. Similarly, the author of Caitanya-caritamrta, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, placing himself in a helpless condition, states that he has no personal power, but by the desire of Lord Chaitanya, expressed through the Vaishnavas and Madan Mohan Vigraha, it is possible for him to cross a transcendental ocean to present Sri Caitanya-caritamrta. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritam Shri. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I just have one very small comment and then I'll pass it to you, Guru Maharaj. The only comment is that this isn't just in devotional endeavors, but we see great heroic acts taking place within the scope of the material world as well. We see so many examples where someone does something miraculous or someone goes from nothing to everything. They become a superstar overnight or some famous athlete or they write an amazing book, whatever it is. But very often they give themselves credit. Somehow they see it as, oh, my prowess is directly the cause of my success. And yet two people may be endeavoring equally. They may be of equal prowess and one succeeds and one doesn't. Or one person may have so many exalted qualities and yet nothing comes of it. So really we see that everything is the mercy of the Lord, that we're able to do anything. And therefore if someone has so many good qualities or has no good qualities, taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead means they have all good qualities. That's all I wanted to say. Guru Maharaj, if you have something. My wife told me, in English we have this understanding that there's so many zeros, Srila Prabhupada says this often, but without the one in front, they're all useless. And my wife told me that that's actually a saying in Spanish. If you want to discount something, oh, this person's useless. Cero a la izquierda. Zero to the left means this person is useless, or this quality is useless. So now I've begun using this phrase. I'm going to read a few more verses just so that we're not constantly cycling readers, and then I'll pass it on to the next reader. Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gaurachandra, Jai Jayādvaita, Jai Jai Nityananda. All glories to Shri Krishna Chaitanya, who is known as Gaura Hari. All glories to Advaita and Nityananda Prabhu. Jai Jai Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana, Sarva Bhishta Purti Hetu, Yanghara Smarana. All glories to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, headed by Srivas Thakur. In order to fulfill all my desires, I remember their lotus feet. Purport. The author here continues to follow the same principles of worship of the Panchatattva that were described in the 7th chapter of Adi Lila. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. I also remember the 6 Goswamis, Rupa, Sanatana, Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva, Gopala Bhatta, and Dasa Raghunath. Purport. This is the process for writing transcendental literature. A sentimentalist who has no Vaishnava qualifications cannot produce transcendental writings. There are many fools who consider Krishna Lila to be a subject of art and write or paint pictures about the pastimes of Lord Krishna with the gopis, sometimes depicting them in a manner practically obscene. These fools take pleasure in material sense gratification, but one who wants to make advancement in spiritual life must scrupulously avoid their literature. Unless one is a servant of Krishna and the Vaishnavas, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami presents himself to be in offering respects to Lord Chaitanya, his associates and his disciples, one should not attempt to write transcendental literature. This morning we heard a class by His Grace Mahotsaha Brahmachari Prabhu, and I believe he quoted a pastime that he read in Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava, in which they were putting on something like a Bhagavad Saptaha, and they asked the professional speakers to speak something with a lot of bhav, and whoever spoke with the most bhav would get something for anna, or something like that. There would be some monetary compensation. And after the person spoke, they said, oh, this didn't quite have enough bhav. And he said, oh, if you want more bhav, then pay me something more. So the bhav was in direct correlation to what was being paid. And here we see that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, his qualification is that he's attempting to write transcendental literature by remembering the 6 Goswamis, not by remembering money. It's his remembrance of the previous acharyas, and it's his interest in glorifying the Lord and not taking pleasure in material sense gratification that qualifies him to present this transcendental literature. Anything at this point, Guru Maharaj?
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshataya. Prabhupada points out that there are many fools who take Krishna Lila to be a subject matter for art and literature and music and so on. And they take it just to be another mundane subject. It's another drama, another legend, or whatever it is, a subject of art. So they write something, they paint something, and according to their mentality, they go to the point of sex as being the most best place to go. And so they may become popular. They'll write something where everything is depicted very passionately, and people will like it. But Prabhupada points out we should scrupulously avoid their work. Scrupulously avoid, not think, oh, Radha and Krishna, scrupulously avoid. They'll have their own mundane take on it. That Radha is something like their girlfriend. They're something like Krishna. One should be scrupulous and avoid these things. These fools take pleasure in material sense gratification. One who wants to make advancement in spiritual life must scrupulously avoid their literature. It's not that whatever we find in the market, whatever we find going around, there's lots of crocodiles in the water. Hare Krishna. There's a question from Saraswati.
Pranams Parampujya Maharaj and to all the Vaishnavas. Can I read something that I came across that Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj said about this particular thing? He said there are two Bhagwans. One is Guru, who is Ashraya Vigraha Bhagwan, the Lord as the abode of service, and the other is Krishna, who is Vishaya Vigraha Bhagwan, the object of service. Sevaka Bhagwan and Sevya Bhagwan, Servitor Bhagwan and Bhagwan to be served. The chief activity of the Ashraya Vigraha Acharya, our Gurudev, is to do Hari Kirtan. Unless Sri Gurudev, who is the Ashraya Vigraha Bhagwan Acharya, does Kirtan, nobody can understand Krishna, who is Isha Tattva, the Vishya Vigraha, the supreme object of service. Nobody can understand the name, form, qualities, associates, or Lila of the Vishaya Vigraha Bhagwan unless the Ashraya Vigraha, the Guru Acharya, imparts such knowledge. When Srila Gurudev does Kirtan, speaking about the name, form, qualities, associates, or the Lila of Krishna, these things appear in the form of sound, Sabda Brahma. Then one can understand the Shastra Avatar scriptures, specifically the Bhagavata Granth, as well as the Isha Avtara, the Supreme Lord, as well as one's Swarupa, spiritual form. Sri Nama and Sri Mantra Gayatri have descended here in the form of Shabda Brahma. Then one can understand the Shastra Avatar scriptures. And then he goes on to say, if the Acharya Avtara, the Ashraya Vigraha Acharya Gurudev, doesn't do Kirtan in the ear of the Shishya, then that mantra or the Shishya's recitation of the Bhagavata will never be effective. The mantra is given in the Shastra, so one may say, oh, mantra is there, I will take it up. Why should I accept a Guru? But unless that mantra comes from the lips of a bona fide Guru, who is Acharya Avatar, it will never be effective. There will be no potency. Therefore, one must accept a bona fide guru, receive the mantra, and hear from him. Otherwise, this tattva gnan cannot be received. Sri Nama, Sri Mantra, and Grantha Bhagavata are all Vishya Vigra, the object of service. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Guru Das Prabhu, are you available to read Adi 9.5?
Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to everyone, especially to Jayādvaita Maharaj. You said Adi,
Chapter 9, Text 5.
okay. I'll get there in a second. Okay. I appreciate your calling on me, but I'm a little slow at the moment.
Well, once you get there, then you can read. I'll read the verse and translation, and then you can take the purport and speak any comments you may have. E sab prasade likhi Caitanya Lila guna, jani vana jani karyapana shodhana. It is by the mercy of all these Vaishnavas and Gurus that I attempt to write about the pastimes and qualities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whether I know or know not, it is for self-purification that I write this book. Do you have it pulled up, Prabhu, or shall I continue? Purport. This is the sum and substance of transcendental writing. One must be an authorized Vaishnava, humble and pure. One should write transcendental literature to purify oneself, not for credit. By writing about the pastimes of the Lord, one associates with the Lord directly. One should not ambitiously think, I shall become a great author, I shall be celebrated as a writer. These are material desires. One should attempt to write for self-purification. It may be published, or it may not be published, but that does not matter. If one is actually sincere in writing, all his ambitions will be fulfilled. Whether one is known as a great author is incidental. One should not attempt to write transcendental literature for material name and fame. This
Right.
is something you addressed previously, Guru Maharaj. You were talking about the rabbi that you were speaking with, and you already addressed these points, but I revert to you in case you have something more to say on this topic.
These are strong traps of Maya. One writes and one thinks, and one already envisions one to have won the great prize, the Booker Prize or something. One imagines how many followers one will have on Facebook, or one actually gets thousands of followers on Facebook, and then one thinks, I have thousands of followers on Facebook. One imagines that one is really hot stuff. I'm an author. I was just Joe Smith, but now I'm an author, or I soon will be. And that it's another form of Maya. And I'll be something. I'll be recognized. I'll be celebrated. I'll be better than others. I'll have notoriety, notability. So that trap is strong, and that rabbi was an example. In his case, it wasn't fame; it was money. Playing out, I'll be an author and I'll make money. And one becomes not proud. I was published by such and such press. I've been cited by this many other authors. I've gotten this review. I've gotten that review, and one becomes puffed up. Or even if one hasn't gotten it, one is dreaming in the future.
head becomes big.
So, Kaviraj Goswami points out that this is not the mentality of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava thinks, they may be published, it may not be published, but let me glorify Krishna, let me glorify the devotees, and let me purify my own heart. Because Prabhupada pointed out that when we write, then we focus our minds on Krishna, and our minds become purified, hearts become purified, because we have to clarify our thinking. If you want to write, then you have to think. So what are we thinking of? We have to think of Krishna. So this work of writing about Krishna is purifying. And Prabhupada said actually all of his disciples should do this. He said you should all write. He said 2 lines, 4 lines. There's 2 lines, 4 lines. Write something. That will give realization. 2 lines, 4 lines may not be published. Some people keep journals and write that way. Some people keep notes somewhere. But he said, all of you should write. It's back to God. What is our back to Godhead for? Prabhupada said it's for the devotees to express their realizations, to write something. So in Vaishnava culture, a writer is not someone who thinks I can be great, but it's a person who's humble and wants to serve. And the same thing applies to other fields of endeavor. I shall be a great singer. I shall be a great mridanga player. Now I'm nothing. Nobody really, I don't stand out. But once I get the towels down, and once I can go zoom, zoom, zoom with the best of them, then I'll really be somebody. And I'll wait for my opportunity to be discovered. Where the singers, they'll learn all the ornaments of singing. And you can, when they sing, you can practically hear the abhiman, the pride, the sense of being an accomplished artist, a virtuoso.
Me, mine, I. Me, mine, I.
Yeah, it's I and I.
Yeah.
So, and that can come in any service that I'm really together. I'm really doing it. It's all happening because of me. Or I'm, now I'm really showing my stuff in any fields. So, Kaviraj Goswami, it's not that I'll be a great author, a celebrated writer. That's not the mood of a Vaishnava. Let me try to glorify Krishna. That's all. Try to serve Krishna. Try to glorify Krishna. Yes, Tulsi.
Where is the balance between what Srila Prabhupada wrote and with the time we see more and more other literatures will come on the forwards of Srila Prabhupada?
It's good. It's not that Prabhupada's the last of the writers. He wanted his disciples to write. He wrote that the BBC should publish a book by Srup Damodar Maharaj, a book by Satsrup Maharaj. So it wasn't that I'll be the last writer. The Prabhupada said the father is happy to see the sons take the business further. So we welcome more and more writing. But it should be done with the mood of trying to serve the acharyas, trying to serve the spiritual masters, not the mood that I'll be a writer or I'll be somebody. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Honored to be in your space. Last year I was fortunate to go to Mr. Swarupa Maharaj. It was his birthday. Now he's older, but he still writes, and he was saying,
still writes.
Yeah, and he was saying one time he asked Prabhupada, like what you're saying, he says, didn't you write all the books already, or do what you want me to write? He said, asked to write, whatever. He says, no, he says, before me people wrote, Prabhupada says, and other people wrote, and now I'm writing. He says, so in the same fashion I want you to write too. You just confirm what he said, but in the mind of like what you said, being pure and Vaishnava and serving Lord,
Saw even the Prabhupada was writing to big people, writing letters to them. He was writing to publications. There's so many opportunities actually if you want to write. There are publications that are looking for letters to the editor. There's so many online platforms that are looking for contributors.
We live in a good time
now. It's a good time. It's always a good time, but now's a good time. So if you're looking to write, there's lots of opportunities to write. And again, it may be published. Suppose you write a letter to the editor of some magazine. They've published some nonsense or something good, and you want to respond. So they may publish it or not publish it. But just that you've written is purifying. It means you had to focus your mind. You had to think, and you have to think carefully. So that builds spiritual strength. That purifies the heart. Publish. If it's published, Haribol. If it's not published, still. So that spirit, write a book, it may be published, not published. Back to Godhead, they're always looking for something. Again, they may publish it or not publish it. Lots of times you write something, you put your heart into it, and they say, thank you, but it's not what we're looking for. Being polite and but we don't care.
Some people use like YouTube nowadays. People use that. Some people use YouTube as a platform. Some people use YouTube as a platform.
I don't even want to talk about all the online platforms. They sort of, I don't like them. But they're good to write for. But we won't mention their hated names.
We have a couple of things in the chat box. Mukesh Prabhu says, once some of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada asked him, what was our qualification? He said, none. I made you qualified. So grace or mercy are very important. Nothing can be achieved without the grace of Guru or senior Vaishnavas.
We saw Kaviraj Goswami's process that he was blessed by the priest of the Gopal deity, Pandit Haridas. He was blessed by other devotees, blessed by the deities, and he thought, all right, maybe I can write something. He didn't think by my own power. I've studied rhetoric, I've mastered poetry. All right, I'm getting the order, let me try.
And then we have a question from Saraswati Devi. Is it true that Krishnadas Kaviraj and Vrindavan Acharya are disciples of Lord Nityananda?
Vrindavan Acharya?
Maybe Vrindavan
Thakur. He doesn't mention, Kaviraj Goswami mentions being inspired by Lord Nityananda. That story he tells, how Lord Nityananda appeared to him in a dream. But he doesn't directly say that he was a disciple of Lord Nityananda.
Well, maybe someone can do a little research and post the answers in our chat box. For now, Guru Das Brew, are you ready with text 6?
Obeisances unto the lotus feet of my divine master, unto Maharaj, and to the devotees present. Text 6. Malakara Swayam Krishna Prema mora turur svayam data bhokta tat phalanam yastam chaitanyam ashraye. I take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who himself is the tree of transcendental love of Krishna, its gardener, and also the bestower and enjoyer of its fruits.
Please
Should I-
continue. Yeah, all the way till 9 or 10, however far.
Prabhu kahi ame visvambaranam madari nama sartaka haya yadi prema vishvabari. Lord Chaitanya thought, my name is Vishvambar, one who maintains the entire universe. Its meaning will be actualized if I can fill the whole universe with love of Godhead. Text 8. Etachinti Lila Prabhu Makara Dharma Navadvipe Arambila Follow Dhyana Karma. Translation. Thinking in this way, he accepted the duty of a planter and began to grow a garden in Navadvip. 9. Sri Chaitanya Malakara Pritivitayani Bhakti Kalpataru Ropila Sinchi Ichapani. Translation. Thus the Lord brought the desired tree of devotional service to this earth and became its gardener. He sowed the seed and sprinkled upon it the water of his will. Purport. In many places, devotional service has been compared to a creeper. One has to sow the seed of the devotional creeper, bhakti lata, within his heart. As he regularly hears and chants, the seeds will fructify and gradually grow into a mature plant and then produce the fruit of devotional service, namely love of Godhead, which the gardener, Malakara, can then enjoy without impediments. Namo Vishnu-padaya Krishna-misthavali-chimte-sattva-taska-swami Namani Satsrupa-vidyaman-vinitam sarvushnam bhakti-gantana-nagina-bhakti-vedanta-shikta. Prabhupada makes the point of this comparing devotional service to a creeper. Creeper is a very, very tiny, very humble plant. Which needs a lot of care and love and support. It can't be emphasized enough that our creeper is very, very tiny, and it needs our constant attention and support. There are, as Jayādvaita Maharaj was so ably saying a moment ago, so many different distractions away from caring for that creeper. Sometimes we may even assume that if I just do a little regular maintenance, this creeper will grow on its own. I have a mind and senses. I have the ability to multitask. Let me do other things while this creeper grows, but like Maharaj was saying, one has to be very, very careful. And we hear of the fruits, and we're experiencing the fruits of, as this creeper grows gradually. But it appears the essence of this verse is to be a very careful gardener, as the Lord is very careful about the Lord is very carefree in the sense of of placing the seed of the Hare Krishna mantra within everyone. But carefree is the wrong word. It implies a sense of almost irresponsibility. That's not what I meant. But he places it within us. But then we have to become responsible for the care and maintenance of the creeper. And I wanted to say something to the last verse, the one I was honored to chosen to read. We can see that Jayādvaita Maharaj, in the spirit of what he was explaining about not seeking name and fame as a devotional writer, that was very evident, Maharaj, in how you, before this book, this current book on Kirtan standards, you published free of charge for anyone to access. You published it in many, many excerpts, so that anyone who was interested could get the straight stuff, the information about what Prabhupada desired about Kirtan and what he wanted for Kirtan. He wasn't in a mood of name and fame, but just in service. And I also wanted to gratefully acknowledge the devotees that talked about the contribution of my Guru Maharaj, Satsvarup Maharaj, who is, as someone who was saying, still writing. I'm actively engaged in humbly tiny, very tiny assistant to his writing. He has 2 devotee gatherings a year, and in each gathering he introduces new books, new material, and it's all based on this principle of, as he writes in many places, about self-purification, and in the footsteps of the great acharyas and under Prabhupada's orders. So thank you very, very much for acknowledging that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gurudas Prabhu. Anything on this point, Guru Maharaj?
So many books from Satsvarup Maharaj, and he can write them faster than we can read them. There's so many books. He as Gurudas said, he's continuing to write. He told me what the latest writings. He said, I don't think they're very good, but it's wonderful how he's writing, and the substance is splendid. The Gurudas mentioned these 2 events a year. I was at the most recent one, and sort of a feature of the event was a reading from the Satsvarup Maharaj's Nimai and the Mouse. Did I mention that? I mentioned that in Bhagavatam class here. He wrote a series of fiction books about one devotee Nimai, who finds that he can speak with mice. And there's a whole narrative that develops around that. And you're hearing just a portion. And it's so filled with Krishna conscious tattva, Krishna conscious conclusions, teachings. So it's wonderful to read. He's got fiction, he's got poetry, he's got essays, he's got history, biography. So there's autobiography. So it's quite a library, really, of literature. You could fill the store here upstairs with Satsuru Maharaj's books and hardly have room for anything else. There's so many books there, and there's really a lot of worthwhile reading available there. Just another comment is that here, a creeper is what we would probably, if we weren't in ISKCON, we'd probably call it a vine. They attach themselves to something and they creep along, either along the ground or sometimes on a trellis or what have you. So that's a creeper. I doubt that any of us would even use the word creeper if we hadn't come to ISKCON. But a vine or a creeper is a legitimate term. It's used in gardening and so on. There are creepers. So here there are creepers, and here there's a tree, the tree of devotional service, Bhakti Kalpaturu. It's mentioned in the verse. Turu means a tree, Turor api sahishna, so it's from Turu, Turor, tree. And Kalpaturu is a tree that gives you whatever you want. Whatever you may want, you can get from this tree. And Bhakti Kalpaturu, the tree of devotional service. So it's a metaphorical tree, and Kaviraj Goswami will elaborate the metaphor or fill in the details of the metaphor as the chapter progresses.
Panchatattva Prabhu says, Srila Prabhupada has elevated our use of English. And Panchatattva Prabhu also supplies the disciplic line. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was a disciple of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur was a disciple of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And then from Saraswati Devi, Srila Prabhupada said, personally, I have no hope for any direct service for the coming crores of births of the sojourn of my life. But I am confident that someday or other I shall be delivered from this mire of delusion in which I am at present so deeply sunk. Therefore, let me with all my earnestness pray at the lotus feet of my Divine Master to allow me to suffer the lot for which I am destined, due to my past misdoings, but to let me have this power of recollection, that I am nothing but a tiny servant of the Almighty Absolute Godhead, realized through the unflinching mercy of my Divine Master. Let me therefore bow down at his lotus feet with all the humility at my command. This is from the Universal Teacher. Panchatattva Prabhu, are you willing to read text? What are we, 10?
Okay. Jaya Sri Madhavapuri Krishna Premapura Bhakti Kapatarora Teho Pratama Ankura. All glories to Sri Madhavendra Puri, the storehouse of all devotional service unto Krishna. He is a desire tree of devotional service, and it is in him that the seed of devotional service first fructified. Purport. Sri Madhavendra Puri, also known as Sri Madhavapuri, belonged to the disciplic succession from Madhvacharya and was a greatly celebrated sannyasi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the third disciplic descendant from Sri Madhavendra Puri. The process of worship in the disciplic succession of Madhvacharya was full of ritualistic ceremonies with hardly a sign of love of Godhead. Sri Madhavendra Puri was the first person in that disciplic succession to exhibit the symptoms of love of Godhead, and the first to write a poem beginning with the words, Ayidina Dayadranath, O supremely merciful personality of Godhead. In that poem is the seed of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cultivation of love of Godhead. Does anybody have that poem at hand? That would be nice.
Well, it's a verse for sure. Aidina there the nath matura nath kadav lokise brahmiti kim karomya. Anyway. Kripaya tvadaloka katram daita brahmiti kim karomya.
Would you like to say anything, Guru Maharaj?
Sometimes devotees wonder why we're following the Madhvacharya Sampradaya when it seems that our teachings are in some ways closer to the teachings of Sri Ramanujacharya. When we look at the commentaries of Sri Ramanujacharya, we think, yes, this is what we follow. And Madhvacharya, in some ways, some of his teachings are different in details or in certain doctrines. So even scholars have said, they're a little puzzled why how is it that we have come to follow the Madhva Sampradaya rather than Ramanuja's Sampradaya. So here's one thought in that regard, that because Sri Madhavendra Puri appeared in that line, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came in that line. The disciple of Madhavendra Puri is Ishvara Puri, and the disciple of Ishvara Puri is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So as mentioned in the purport, the Madhvacharya line during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially was characterized by a lot of ritual. Even today, in South Indian religion, now we have a lot of South Indian devotees in our association, or more generally in America now, there are many, many South Indians who have come thanks to the IT industry. And we see that they're very cultured, but the South Indian devotional line tends to be quite full of rituals, different kinds of course, it's there in North India too. There's just a different set of rituals. But anyway, North India, South India, wherever we go, we see there's a lot of attention to rituals and mantras. People go to Varanasi and they visit this place or that place. Some Purohit is there and says, all right, home, 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 and everybody's sitting there very seriously while various rituals are being done that they don't understand, and who knows what, and it fulfills a religious imperative that yes, we should be doing this, but it's unlikely to bring them into love for Krishna. And even the people who are who do have understanding, they get deep into these ritualistic performances. Sometimes even in our society, ISKCON, we see there's a lot of deep attention given to the rituals.
Yeah.
A lot of attention to the rituals, and that's all right. We have space for elaborating the rituals somewhat. Prabhupada gave space for that, sometimes appreciated that. But the real thing is not the rituals. The real thing is to develop love for Krishna. So we give more attention to kirtan, or sometimes prem kirtan, it's called. Golokera Premadan Harinam Sankirtan. The rituals will gradually benefit us, but Harinam Sankirtan very powerfully brings one quickly toward attraction to Krishna. So we give more importance to Hari Kirtan. Hari Kirtan. So that, because that's the goal. The goal is not Vaikuntha, or the goal is not liberation, or the goal is not elevation to higher levels of piety, to get higher to pious credit so that one can get various rewards in this life or the next. The purpose is to develop love for Krishna. So for that, the Sankirtan Yagya is so important. It's crucial, central, most effective. And Prabhupada mentioned in the inauguration of the Krishna Balaram Mandir, some pundit was hired to perform the necessary rituals for installing the deity, because Prabhupada said unless a proper pundit were engaged, the local people wouldn't accept the authenticity of the temple. But side by side, Prabhupada had the devotees, his disciples, mostly Western disciples, doing kirtan. And Prabhupada said, I consider that the real inauguration of the temple. The other stuff was for the public, but the kirtan was the real thing. What is that? All rituals, mantras, and understandings are included in these words. It's one of those books, the kirtan, one of those boxes. Well, we're running out of time anyway. But I can assure you that the quote is included. New book. So that I can be a celebrated author. Anyways, I don't want to spend the time, but it's quoted from the Puranas that all the rituals, mantras, and understandings are included in these words: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we can end there and continue chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We do have a big band here tonight, so we can take advantage.
We have a couple of comments, Gurmaj, in the chat before we wrap up.
Okay.
Panchatattva Prabhu supplies the verse by Madhavendra Puri Prabhu, for those who want to read the translation there. And then Ananta Shesh Prabhu says, Hinduization of ISKCON is increasing in prevalence of rituals, in my humble opinion. So there could be a cultural aspect to it. And then Saraswati Devi says, beginning from Madhvacharya down to the spiritual master of Madhavendra Puri, the Acharya named Lakshmipati, there was no realization of devotional service in conjugal love. Sri Madhavendra Puri introduced the conception of conjugal love for the first time. So there's another similarity with our line. All right, to the live band.
Okay. Who are the live banders? All fingers are pointing in one direction. Through Friday. Sunday. I'm leaving Sunday.
So what, your next talk, you're going to be in the morning giving a talk or no?
I'll be here in the morning, Sunday.
Sunday. But when is your next talk? I know.
Next talk?
I know there's like tomorrow night.
Tomorrow evening. I'll be here tomorrow.
And Saturday.
And 26 at night.
5:30.
I'm going to come.
Tomorrow night. Oh, tomorrow night?
7.
Yeah. So are we doing class, everything there? Zoom class? Oh, no, yeah.
That's on Saturday, I think, second Avenue.
Yeah, so no need for Zoom Saturday at 22nd.
Yeah. So tomorrow night here, same time, same place.
And
On Saturday,
I'll come Saturday.
5:30. Jai Om Nishtavad Purnamamsa Paripradhakacharya Hashto Tulasatri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai. Navadip Tham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol Jai Shri Shri Caitanya-caritamrta ki Jai. His Holiness Jayādvaita Maharaj ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Haribo. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you both. And thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Bye.
Thank you so much for the live band. Much
Good job.